Okay, this is a quick video to show you how to do playoffs. Create a playoff after you've completed replaying a season. As you can see here, I've completed the 1970 library season. The first thing I'm going to do is create a backup of the current library. That way I can always come back and restore it later after my changes here. I don't want to include my box scores in this case because it makes the backup quite large. But feel free to include your box scores in your backup if you want to keep track of them. Just be prepared. It will take a minute or two for all the box scores to be saved. Notice here that I used real-life transactions. So at the end of the season, the rosters for all of my teams are matching the rosters that were for the teams at the end of the regular season. So what I'm going to do is generate new team profiles, and I'm going to choose not to have the computer manager consider inactive players. So this will build brand new team profiles that use the end of the season rosters, which is a great way to enter the playoffs because those rosters will come close to matching what the playoff rosters were in real life for those teams. You can always set them by hand based on what they were off of baseball reference or something, but this works pretty well. Now that we have that done, we need to see who are the leaders in each division, and we'll start creating a playoff series. In this case, we'll do the National League. I'll start my games in October, and it's going to be the Mets versus the Dodgers. The Dodgers had a better record, so we'll make them the home team, and we'll do a 2-3-2 format, 7-game series. You can do any format you want. You can go off of what was done in real life, or you can be creative and do something else. As you can see, here's my first game in that 7-game series. Let's add the next game. And again, if these were the teams that actually played that year in the playoffs, you could use the actual schedule that was used, or you can create your own playoff schedule if you like. I'm going to finish this up and make the full 7-game series here, and I'll come right back. Okay, there's a 7-game series. We're all set now. Looks good, and you can feel free to play this whenever you want. But before you play it, something you can do that's pretty handy is you can keep track of a player's playoff stats. Before we do that, I should mention, if these two teams played in real life, you can go in and add the real-life transactions. So real-life as-played lineups here, so that you actually have a record of who actually played in those games in the playoffs. If they didn't play in real life, you can just load from the profiles that we generated earlier, and you'll get computer-generated lineups that are reasonably good based on the end of the season rosters. Okay, the next thing I want to do is, you'll notice we kept track of the career stats and season stats. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the season stats, set them back to 0. So this gives my season stats back to 0, but my career stats will retain the player statistics during that replay. So this is what they did during the regular season here under Browse Career Stats. And under Browse and Season Stats, we have a clean slate. This means that when we replay the games, and I'll fast play these while I'm talking, when we replay the games, we'll actually have a record of both the season stats and the playoff stats. So right here are the players' playoff stats. This is how the players are doing in the current playoffs that I'm playing. And if I click over to the career stats, I can see how the player did for the entire season, which is the regular season plus the playoffs. So here's the combined, so we can see what they've done in 1970 replay, and then we have the playoff stats as well. So that's a neat way to keep track of your playoff stats. So I hope that's helpful. There are other ways to do this as well. This is the way I like to do it, but there are other options as well. And good luck with your playoff replays.